this is one of those people that definitely got me through the pandemic. He is one of those people. He has so many hats: trainer, coach, philosopher, thought leader, and also friend, if need be. That also someone that just listens with you, you know. And here's one thing, right? You know this, have you heard this before? Okay. Who you surround yourself with is who you become. And so we were at the simulcast once again here in LA, and I didn't even know this man was in the room. I was sitting down watching, and someone introduced him. And that at that moment, that's when I knew I was in the right place at the right time. This man has helped. Well, if you allow yourself, he can take how many people are on here? 60, 59 people, take their subconscious mind together and mold, remove doubt, push you in places that you haven't been, things that were there, awaken some things that are in you if you allow yourself to just listen and hear what he has to say. I give to you none other than Mr. Dr. Byron Nelson.
All right, I am here. I am present. I have my coffee. Audience, what a concept. How y'all doing? Where all y'all come from? What's going on? Can you guys hear me? Beautiful. All right, so what we're going to do today is we're going to have fun. I'm going to open up my chat. There we go. And that was an amazing job. I was listening to Mr. Mills the whole time, man. That was beautiful, by the way. Forgive my sexy voice. That's the way I'm coming in today. Sexy, coming in hot. All right, how you doing, Kenny? Love you guys. All right, so we're going to play a game. And the game is you get to pick. I wish somebody had done this for me when I came into the industry. Can you guys hear me clearly, by the way? Okay, cool. Awesome. I like to see my people. There you go. Yes, look at all y'all people. Look at what's happening. What's going on? Hi, Christina. Let me see y'all. T, what's going on? Look at my family all in here. All right. I wish somebody had done this for me when I came into the game. I wish I had what I call a genie in a bottle for this industry, for this leadership, for this business, for understanding business and leadership. So I want, if it gets overwhelming, I'm gonna have to stop it. But if you had a question, if you had a genie in a bottle to ask anything you wanted to move your business forward, I want you to put it in the chat. Take your time. I don't have a job. I'm in a rush to be nowhere. But if you had a genie in a bottle and you could ask anything you want without somebody dictating to you and telling you the basics, you need to be in Dallas. That should be a foregone thought process. You should already be registered. That wouldn't even be smart to not be there, right? So, I mean, there's basic things. Getting someone launched in 24 hours, basic. You know, identifying 5 services within your first hour of starting with yourself, basic. I mean, how can you actually market Nike and you're wearing Adidas? That doesn't make any sense. You know, what does the top say? That's the question. That's what you want in the genie in the bottle. What I have around me, what I surround, I believe in ecosystems. So what's behind me? That's not going to be one of the questions, by the way. On the left side, it's success nutrition facts. And what it says is serving size 24 hours a day, servings per container 365 days a year, amount of serving 100% in each one. Hustle, focus, you can write it down because it's something that you should have in your ingredients. Hustle 100%, focus 100%, persistence 100%, discipline 100%, failure 100%, risk 100%, and patience 100%. While you guys are putting your questions together, for those that are in my feed, and if you aren't, Wendy is online. She'll put the number in the chat. You can always join if you want to be in my life for the rest of your life. But if you're a temporary suspect or sometimey, please don't take her number. Please. Okay. But what happened was, And this has been, while you guys come up with some questions. I want at least 4 amazing questions. I had to, this is a season for me where I'm ending the season prayerfully by the end of this month of complete, and you can write this down, declutter. Should have had it done by the end of January. I'm a little bit behind. But this is a season because your ecosystem is everything. What you surround yourself with is everything. Who you surround yourself with is everything. The thoughts that pour into your brain, everything. I hope somebody else is writing this down. The conversations that you have on a daily basis. You may think that it's like, it's just a simple conversation. That simple conversation made your life a simple life. That broke conversation made your life a broke life. The products that we have are stellar. The readjustment of eliminating all the countries, coming down to just North America, what you have to always look for is opportunity. I don't look for the problem, I look for the solution. You might want to write that down. There's always a solution. Always a solution. So long as they're writing a check, I'm going to get a check. It's really that simple. Right? But I was actually decluttering. And my father passed in 2013. He gave me a lot. My father was very blessed. I had an amazing father. Still do. He still follows me. We have great conversations. But this is really simple. You may think it's elementary, but it's so powerful. And I'm actually going to put it on feed today. And I had to read it, and I have it in front of me, like for the last 3 weeks. And I want to share it with you. Can I share? Nod your head if I can share. It changed everything. For those that have been on my journey, you know what I've been through in the last 3 months. You know where I've been. You know what I've had to deal with in the last couple of years. And I needed a shift. And it's not easy because it doesn't happen when you want it to, but it happens when it's supposed to happen. But if you aren't prepped for when it happens, then you're going to be set back versus set up for success. And that was this one piece that changed. It opened up portals for me. It always has, always has. And I practice all the time, but it took me digging something out of my crates that my father gave me at the age of 7. He used to put all these different things up in my room. But this one was the most impactful. So I took it and I printed it, and I'm giving it to everybody that I know. So all of those that are in my tribe, you will have a copy of it. I'm going to go ahead and read it. It says, attitude. It's the most powerful thing that you could have on the planet Earth to anybody who's alive. It's the game changer. You may think it's just that simple. I mean, you may be forcing things to happen and it's not happening. You may be working and it's not happening. I can do the hustle, but it's not happening. I can be focused, but it's not happening. I can be persistent and it's not happening. I can have discipline and it's not happening. And everything happens when you change your attitude. Those that have been around me understand that I teach that your attitude is your altitude, that teaches your longitude, that gives you your destination and gives you all of the measurements to show up where you're supposed to before you get there. Me and Pierre have talked about that in regards to health. Me and Christina have talked about this as far as hitting goals. It doesn't matter what it is, but what I've noticed in the conversations over the last 30 days, the most powerful ones that are actually realigning my spirit with the universe for portals to open up come down to an attitude. No matter how hard you try it in any area of your life, you can work and feel like you're going in the same place and actually be moving backwards because you have the wrong attitude. You guys with me? Yes? Nod your head. Most times when you're young, you hear people say, you have a bad attitude. So it's not a lot of people that actually speak into your listening. And it may take you a long time to grasp, but it really is a such thing as a good attitude. And that, I'm going to read it slow, so this is recorded and you can go back and get it. The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude is more important than money. Attitude is more important than the past. Attitude is more important than the circumstances. Attitude is more important than failure or success. Attitude is more important than that, is more important than what other people think, say, or do. Attitude is more important than physical skill or mental capacity. Attitude will break a company, a church, a home. The remarkable thing is that I have a choice every day regarding the attitude I will embrace for that day. I can't change the past. I cannot control the future. I cannot control how someone else will act. The one thing I can do is control my own attitude. I am convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% of how I react to it. It's completely up to me, for I am in charge of my attitude. And I listened to conversations. I had one yesterday, a couple of them yesterday. And I'm listening to people who are stuck. They're frustrated. Life is not going the way they wanted to. My life was that like that for a complete season. You know, you feel like everything's caving in. The bills are coming at you. You're trying to figure out how to make money. You're having challenges with your family. You're having challenges at your job place. You don't know how to be able to deal with certain circumstances, or if you will, pressures that are coming in your life. You're trying to fix them. You cannot fix other people. Some of the problems you cannot fix, but you definitely can't fix people. But what you can do is you can fix your attitude. And I had to repeat 3 different times in 3 separate conversations yesterday. You need to reset and start over tomorrow. But because people are so frustrated, they want to push and they want to push and they want to push and they want to push, not understanding the pushing has nothing to do with your attitude. Sometimes you just need to be still, regroup, get yourself together so that people can listen, Linda, listen, Linda, listen, Linda, so people can see you differently, because your attitude comes out of your mouth, it comes out of your face. In fact, I have a whole training just specifically on the loudest communication, the most powerful communication, the most extraordinary communication on the planet has to do with nothing that ever comes out of your mouth, but out of your body language. And no matter how much you say you want to make things happen, you want to make things and you want people to interpret, you want people to support you, people want to help you, they can hear a whole language that you're screaming that has nothing to do with what you say is coming out of your mouth. You say you want to be helpful, you say you want to be supportful, you say that you're open, you say that you want to learn, but your attitude says, screw you, damn the world, and I'm going to do it my way. Is this making sense? Are you guys with me? It's amazing. It will block you from showing up in places that you need to show up, listening the way that you need to listen, receiving people the way you need to receive them. Just because you have a bitch setting face. Yeah, be very transparent. Anybody knows me knows how I train. Your face, you need to have a conversation with your face, because the frustration will show up, the anger will show up, your dislike for somebody will show up. And you got to understand the universe cannot move in your direction until you move into its direction. That's when the portals start to open up. That's when it starts to flow. Things start to happen magically for you, all predicated on your attitude. Your attitude will get you up early in the morning, keep you in bed late. Attitude will, no matter how much you're fighting, you aren't fighting the forces against you because you have no control of the forces against you. You're fighting your attitude, because your current circumstances, the current people in your life are going to be the same ones, and you're going to be stuck, predicated on the fact that you're blocking other energies and other resources and other angels from coming into your life because of your freaked up attitude. Once you let go of that frustration, that anger, that intense feeling, because it's blocking. Is anybody with me on this? I don't want to talk about anybody's else because I can go to a whole nother level of inertia here. Okay. So let's see what questions we have here. Do I have at least 4? Are you guys thinking of questions? Ah, a little bit busy here, aren't we? Okay, beautiful. Let's lay it out. How to handle rejection. Make sure that I'm at the top of the list. How to handle rejection and mistrust. That's a great question. Now, this is subjective. How I handle rejection is to go get more rejection. I'm going to say that again. That sounds a little crazy, doesn't it? How do you handle rejection? Go get more rejection. Rejection is an interpretation in your own mind. It's a story you're telling yourself that might have to do with your attitude. Rejection is also a muscle. I'm going to give you 3 points here. It can deal with your attitude, it's a muscle, and it may have to do with your approach. Those are the 3. There's only 3. I don't go into any situation or any conversation where I do not expect a person to say yes. If a person says yes, if they say no, it's because of the timing of that person. That's not rejection. If a person says no, it's because of the timing in that person's life, or it's because they don't understand what I'm offering. Because my whole philosophy is that life is built on 2 words, which is an experience and value. There's no way if you offer somebody a Rolls Royce that's worth $150,000 with the pink slip free 2024 with the key that they're going to say no. Would everybody agree with that? There's too much value. So the only reason a person is saying no to you is because you have not mastered the art of creating value for them. That could do with your the way you approach, the way you share, how you're telling them, how you're talking to them, your attitude, or the timing in their life. They're so congested they can't even receive the blessing that you're attempting to offer them. Now, that's not a rejection. Again, rejection is an interpretation. I'm ugly is an interpretation. People don't like me. That's an interpretation. I'm not a great communicator. That's an interpretation. I'm not a salesperson. That's an interpretation. If you've ever been with another man or another woman, you've sold something. Let's be very clear. You sold something, they bought something. If that makes sense. Are you guys with me on that so far? And in that exchange, there was value or there wasn't value. We start as a baby. When we come out as an infant, the moment we start crying, we create value for attention. We are taught how to create value for attention from the day we come into this world. Somewhere you lost the skill set to listen to this. Being able to share a business, share an opportunity, whatever that may be, is not a talent. I need you guys to understand that. It's a skill set. The beautiful thing about the word skill set is this, any one of us can actually develop it. That's going to come down to how much you're willing to invest in developing yourself, how much you're willing to truly grow yourself. I know people that can't put 2 words together, 2 sentences together, don't even understand the difference of a noun, a verb, and an adjective. They get rich. Why? Because of their presence and the way that they actually package what they have to say. And then you have, it's really unfortunate. The more intelligent you are, the broker you go. There's a reason why the LA Times, the New York Times is written in 4th grade English. So the masses can buy it, read it, and understand it. Now, don't you understand that writers, they can write something that sounds so intelligent, so wow factor, so extraordinary, but they would miss an entire demographic of their business attempting to write beyond the Wall Street Journal, which is not even beyond the 10th grade reading level. So you got to go into understanding and studying business. You have to understand and study self-development. You need to understand your product. The more you understand your product, the better you can give the price points, the better you can give the value, the more you can tell people why they should get it from you versus somewhere else. But you must also understand, back to my word attitude, people are never going to buy your product. Listen, listen, Linda, listen. They aren't buying your product, they're going to buy you. So when people don't buy, you want to talk about rejection, when they don't buy your product or they don't want to hear about your product or they aren't receiving your product, they aren't saying no to your product, they're saying no to you. It's the mastery of understanding, write this down. It's the art of mastering how to share. We don't sell, we share. When I have a conversation with somebody, I invite them to a conversation that I may share what I'm up to in life, what I'm marketing in life, a need that they have or may not have, but why at some point you're going to call me. What do I mean by that? That means that if you live in a cold area, a winter area, some of you guys are in cold areas, God bless you. Don't ever call me to come and visit. Some of you guys are in a cold area, and in that cold area, at some point, your pipes are going to burst. If I gave you my card and I told you I'm the ultimate plumber, I'm like, okay, but I don't have a plumbing problem. I know, that's why I'm giving you my card. So why are you giving me your card? I don't have a plumbing problem. Because you do have pipes. So at some point, you're going to have a problem. And what I need you to understand is at that point, that it may be 2 a.m. in the morning and you can't call any other plumber, you will be able to call me and I will show up. I always look at what makes me more distinct and different than everybody else doing the same business. There's a whole lot of people doing healthcare. There's a whole lot of people doing telecom. There's a whole lot of people doing energy. There's a whole lot of people in network marketing. And if you utilize any of this, it's too common. People may just shut down in the sense that they think that you're just a door-to-door salesperson because that's how you're showing up. That's your value point of conversation, which means you need to master the art of your conversation. You might want to record other people's conversations that are actually doing presentations and spend 2 weeks developing your own conversation, duplicating that which has already been done. Why would you try to reinvent the wheel and do your own? That's where your rejection comes from. You're starting from scratch when other people have been doing it for the past 20 years, 10 years. Have you recorded Harrison's conversation? Have you recorded Al Thomas's conversation, Jocelyn's conversation, anybody that's extraordinary? And said, you know what? I like that. I don't like that. Yeah, I mean, you got AI today. You can record today. You can take it on your phone today. All you have to do is take somebody else's conversation and make it your own. As a speaker, there's nobody who can touch me. Why? Because I took all of the greatest speakers in the world and made it my own and created an audience for me, not because I'm the greatest speaker. I'm the greatest speaker in competition to me. I hope somebody got that. I win every day against me. I wake up every day to beat me because I'm the shit. And if I beat him, that guy in the mirror, I actually get better. And I look better. I'm cuter. I'm more vibrant. I'm colorful. My personality shows up. You guys all know, for those who've been around me, somebody says, hello, how are you doing? What's my first response? I'm amazing. Don't touch me. I'm contagious. Don't touch me. You won't catch something playing with me. You better stop. That took years to be able to truly work and tweak. You look so good in that outfit. Stop looking at yourself in the mirror. I don't take it in a vanity way. I reverse engineer it and I put the compliment on them. These are all things that you can tweak about how you show up, because they first must like you, then they'll trust you, then they'll do business with you. Hence, you have mistrust in the conversation. How do you deal with mistrust? Then you become trustworthy. You have to create the credibility, but they first have to like you. Everybody's not going to like you. Well, how do I get everybody to like me? Everybody will never like you. Well, why won't some people like me? Usually because in my case scenario, they don't like themselves. I don't have to worry about who doesn't like me. If somebody doesn't like me, I immediately have come up with the concept and understand. You just don't like yourself, huh? Great. Just stay in my world long enough so you can hate yourself some more until you decide to change your life. It's a beautiful thing. Is everybody getting this? Anybody getting any takeaways here? Life is an amazing freaking journey, and it's not that long. So in understanding that, once we comprehend that, then we need to really know how to maximize the bank of 1,440 minutes, 86,400 seconds, and every 24 hours that you're on this planet. Because having draining conversations, which you really have to keep an eye out for, is what I call spiritual vampires. You might want to write that down. I like to say they walk amongst us. And the more powerful you are, the more positive you are, the more they're looking for you. Some are looking for you intentionally, some are looking for you unintentionally. They're looking for you unintentionally because they have so much going on in their own life. They're looking for some life to suck from somewhere. It's not intentional. They just need a lifeline to make it through one more day for whatever they're going through negatively. That could be negative in their bank account. That could be negative in their spirit account. That could be negative in their mental account. That could be negative in their life account as far as the people that surround them of not having enough love. But all of these bank accounts are an impact to how they show up with the right attitude. If you keep enough positive around you, it's impossible to be negative. But I got to tell you, it is a choice. We are the only creatures created alive on this planet that were born with choice. You just don't get it. Well, what you get is, I just can't get out of here. If you walk out of your house right now and start walking to a bus stop, you're going to go to a different location. I didn't say go buy an airline ticket and go on a vacation. Get out of your house and walk to a bus stop. That only costs you about $40. Take you to a city you've never been to. Well, I'm broke. Well, you're going to be broke at home too. You might as well go to a new city, meet some new people, eat with some new friends, and get you a chili dog. Does that make sense? You need to create a new environment for yourself, starting in your head and in your heart. That was a great question. That was rejection and mistrust. Let's go to the next one. Let's see here. I need to be consistent. Yes. The challenge in that conversation is the scarcity conversation. I'm really big on etymology, as many of you know, and the power of words. Let's look at this. Let's just break it down. I need to be consistent. I need a boyfriend. I need this person to commit. I need love. I need money. I need somebody to call me. I need some more prospects. I need. It should be a curse word. I hear when somebody says, I need to have a conversation with you. I usually avoid that conversation because in that conversation lives scarcity. Please write it down. I don't need you in my life. I want you in my life. I don't know where people get the conversation to think that I need to be anywhere. I don't know where they get entitled to think that I need to be anywhere. Generally speaking, when entitlement kicks in, I usually go away. When people have an expectation, please write this down. When people have an expectations of other people, they will always be let down. When people have an expectation of other people, they will always be let down. I cannot tell you countless. I can count at least 10 times over this last week of an expectation, and I avoided it because it was an expectation. I am the most giving, loving, abundant soul I know, one of that walk amongst us. I will give my last dollar. I can have $1 in my pocket yesterday and have 100,000 tomorrow. It really is my lifestyle. I can have 100,000 and have 1,000,000 the next day. And then I can be down to one the next day. But because people are inconsistent with creating from nothing, which is how you came into this world, they live in the scarcity mentality. Abundance is created from nothing. So I'm excited. It sounds crazy, but I'm really the most excited when I have nothing because it forces the mental and spiritual muscles to go to work. I have to create. I have to figure it out. I have to go. I have to start with what was given to me, which was nothing. When you get comfortable with what you have, you become a dependency. You need to ask yourself, am I a dependency in somebody's life or am I an asset? I wake up every day with this conversation that anybody that I have in my space, in my life, I'm an asset. Not I need to collaborate with you so that I can become an asset. Because if I have to collaborate with you to become an asset, then that only makes me a liability. Because that means I have to take from you to become me. Boy, so many people need to hear this conversation. Y'all need to record this and send it to about 100 people. Let me say that again. So long as I wake up and I figure out how I can be more valuable to the universe in contribution, the more I'm going to become a law of attraction of attracting like-minded, like beings. Then I have 1 plus 1 that equals 111, not 1 plus 1 that equals 2. The multiplier effect kicks in. You need to understand that. I know some of you have heard it in some capacity, but I want to make sure you understand it. You have one horse that pulls 1,300 pounds. You have another horse that pulls 1,700 pounds, but together they pull 5,500 pounds. Nobody's been able to figure that out. Let me say that again. One horse pulls 1,300 pounds. The other one pulls 1,700 pounds, but together they pull 5,500 pounds. See, when you add that type of inertia, that type of energy, that type of force, people that come into your life, then you can't be stuck because you're coming to the table with something, they're coming to the table with something, and things multiply. The law of attraction becomes ridiculous. The points of light start to move in a way that you can't understand, nor are you supposed to understand it. They're blessings because you decided to show up as a blessing. The less that I have when I'm in low, I call it low tide, when my tank is low, and that's in the spirit, and that could be in the bank, financially, that could be in any capacity of all the tanks I've told you about. The first thing that I do is figure out where I can give. You're like, that sounds crazy. You're supposed to give when you're abundant. No, you need to learn how to give when you're low tide. It could be as simple as just buying somebody a cup of coffee that's sitting behind you at a Starbucks, and you walk away and not even look for a return or a thank you. You don't even need to see what they look like. Just drop $15, buy your coffee, and say, whoever's behind me next, just tell them they were blessed. I wanted to bless somebody. They can point to you, but you aren't looking. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. When you do something, don't look for acknowledgement for it. Do not look for a return. When you sow seed, do not look for a return. It's going to grow. It's karma, it's energy. It's going to grow. It's just never going to grow where you think it's going to grow. The gratitude is going to come back. It's just never going to come from where you expect it to come back from. If you give and you expect it to come back from where you give, you again will be let down and disappointed. It could be your kids, your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, your best friend. Are you guys with me on that so far? It's just an amazing thing. It's ironic. I had somebody, I've got to be very careful with that because I have a very close tribe. I have somebody who I know is living on low tide financially, and they wanted to do something extraordinary for themselves and celebrating their life. I went to get information to really make sure that it was covered. I just wanted to bless them. I just wanted to pay for it. And the next day I had a conversation and the attitude was so rotten. I was like, why? I'm not sowing seed here. It's going to die. The attitude is rotten. I have at least 4 cases like that where I'm in a position to bless somebody, but the way they show up, I'm like, whatever. The gratitude's not going to be there. And that's all I look for is gratitude. I don't look for the thank you and going to do something for me or going the extra mile. But it's like you gotta sow not on thorny ground, but in fertile territory. That even if that tree is not ready to grow, when it does grow, you know it's going to show up and be given back somewhere else. I hope that made sense. I want to make sure that when I plant a seed of time, please write that down. Plant a seed of time. Plant a seed of money. Plant a seed of just energy in any capacity, because that's all it is. Currency is just energy. Currency being money, currency being time, currency being your love. So when you do that and you write this down, set intentions. Like one would think, if you knew my lifestyle, first of all, my lifestyle is a minimum of a $40,000 a month. In fact, I'm almost broke if I just have 40,000. So my lifestyle is a 40,000 a month income. This has nothing to do with our business. It's just my lifestyle. And I have been way below that in the journey of the last couple of years, up and down. And if someone looked at me, they would actually think I'm crazy to think with the debt that I have, which will be all gone by June. How could you just think about giving? Because to give actually brings my abundance. The less I have, the more I'm giving. The less I have, the more I'm looking to sow seed, sow seed, sow seed, sow seed. How is this applicable to our business and what we're talking about here? How many seeds have you sown? How many people have you talked to about your business? See, my business, you got to understand, I'm not in ACN. I could take a 3-year hiatus as I did after the pandemic, all the way up until this point in time. I could take 6 years if I want. But I'm not ever in, I don't think I've ever been in ACN. It's funny, huh? But you've hit SVP, you've hit all these positions, you've had Les Brown, you've had Marvin Sapp come and sing for you. You've done all these extraordinary things at ACN. No, I was never in ACN. I am ACN. There's a distinction in my conversation. People aren't buying ACN, they bought me. So I don't have to worry about rejection of somebody having an interpretation about ACN, because that means they would have an interpretation about me. All they can do is say, in that lane of your life, I don't have a need for your service, but I'm going to refer some people. There's never someone who has said no that didn't say at least I'm going to go and refer some people, even though it's not necessary for me right now. That's the power of the game, that you become what you think about most of the time. Now, that's just an amazing thing to be able to do that, tap into that energy and make it work for you. Is everybody with me on that so far? Now think about that. Let's think about self-development. We could talk about, and see, what you got to understand is you got to listen to a great Provenzano, you have to listen to a Harrison, you have to listen to certain leaders, and then listening to them. Become the greatest student, first and foremost. But I don't want to know, or better stated, I don't want to rest my hat on just what Harrison knows. I don't want to rest my hat on just what Mike and Tony know. I don't want to rest my hat on just what Al Thomas knows, or what Johnson knows, or what Dr. Byron Nelson knows. I want to know who they studied from. I want to know where they got their information. I want to become, listen to this and write this down. I want to become my own R&D, my own research and development department. Because if I do that, then in turn, I can have the root and the foundation of where my Winston comes from, my Thomas comes from, where my Lance comes from, where my Jabri comes from. I can, if I do that, I can know where my Rose comes from. I can know where my leaders are being founded from. I can know their intention. I can know their attitude. When people don't respond, either number one, you're overwhelming them with too much information, or two, you don't have enough patience for a response. We have this thing that, well, I just sent them an email. I just sent them a text. I just sent them a message and they haven't responded. Then stop sending it until they respond. Why do you think sending more information is going to make them respond faster? No, it's going to push them back further because it's like, oh my God, now there's more that I got to look at. I was already busy. It wasn't that I didn't want to look at it, but now you put that into a whole nother category that I have to put that over here because it wasn't a priority unless it's going to shift my life. Unless you're going to tell me what you sent me is going to put a comma in my check. It's going to take care of my son. It's going to help the person I just helped yesterday that went into the hospital. Then your arrogance and believing in your information and more information is going to be more of an overload and you're going to become more of a deterrent than you are an asset. You have to wait for the exchange of energy, of conversation, of dialogue. Write this down. Less is more. Less is more. Everyone's going to get to it. And the more value you bring in one seed, the more they're going to want 3 seeds. Then they'll want 5 seeds. Then they'll not be able to get enough of you. They'll go into the grocery store and they'll just look for, where's the Al Randolph lane? Where's Al Randolph? I know, well, we have a Heidi. Well, we have a Ray. We have a David. We have a Joshua. No, I'm looking for Al Randolph. You don't understand what this man has done. I need to get as many of these canisters in my house as possible because so much value is brought with one canister. Is this making sense to anybody? Is my understanding this conversation? Okay, let's see here. What do we have here? Consistency. Well, consistency really taps into my 4 C's. What do I have? 7 minutes. I believe that you can tell the breakdown, and those that have been around me understand my 4 C's. I can look at anybody's life and tell you the breakdown or breakthrough in anybody's life because of 4 C's Inc. I don't have time for the lesson, but the first C is coachability. Am I willing to learn? The second C is consistency. Am I consistent with all that I do? You've had speakers on here for the last year. Some of you are new, some of you are old. You should find out who you love. When I say who you love, whose conversation you fall in love with, and not just get the recording. You should seek them out. There are people that I sought out, that I pursued, and some people have so low tide of impatience. You got to understand, when I reached out and finally, I'm now on the panel to potentially take back over and help with the mastermind at Nectar's Island with Sir Richard Branson. I have gotten a call to be able to be on a panel to do something, obviously, with Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. When I first got with Mr. Jim Rohn in 2005, the masters of the universe that I'm attracted to, I didn't just make one phone call and they get pissed off because they didn't call me back. I didn't just send them a text because I was blessed enough to get access to their number. I was relentless. I remember when I was really attempting to get a position in radio, when I thought I wanted to be in radio, when I thought that's what God wanted for me. I sent them a letter every day until they responded. When I finally got the interview, they said, you did this for over 90 days. Why did you send a letter 90 days, knowing that they didn't read the first one? I said, at some point, they're going to get tired of getting this letter and figuring out, maybe I should open one up. And they did. I called 3 times a day, knowing that I was going to get blocked by the person who was on the phone. They said, why did you call 3 times a day for 90 days? I said, because you're going to hear my name enough that you're going to be pissed off if I end up in another radio station. I mastered the art of what you call, and you can write this down, it's one of my courses called a mental tattoo. I pride myself in making sure that I'm unforgettable. You will never meet anybody and ask them, do you know Byron Nelson? And they say, the name sounds familiar. They're lying. You either know me or you don't know me. If you've met me one time, you'll never forget me. It's a very simple thing. You need to identify at least 3 masters that you want to get on their radar. Let's say that again. You need to identify 3 masters that you get on their radar, that are in the lane, that are in the space and the place that you want to arrive. Now, they may reach back to you this month. You may do it for Al Thomas. You may do it for Harrison. You may do it for me. but you don't stop until you connect with them and establish a relationship. Remember, they have what you want. You don't have what they want. It's amazing how many people actually come back and tell me, I was going to reach out to you, but you're just so busy. Okay, that's your interpretation. Guess what? What did you do for the last 24 hours? You were busy too. Even if you sat on the couch watching The Simpsons, everybody's busy. But where we place our time is going to be based on the people who demand it and do something with it, reciprocate it, and grow it, and then become a glow light and a poster child for us to know that our goodness is actually great. You being passive and moving slow, caught up in your own world, caught up in your own head, trying to do it by yourself, having a Moses syndrome, thinking that you have to do everything by yourself, that's a slow death. Keep doing that. Tell me how that works for you. Because I know many of you on here that continue to do that. Keep doing it by yourself. Tell me how that works for you. It hasn't worked so far. That's why it's mandatory. That's why I don't even promote going to Texas, going to Dallas. Because if you don't go, that's just called stupid to me. I'm not even gonna massage the words and say, oh, everybody, what you gonna experience? Where you gonna go? Everybody need to go to Dallas. Everybody need to be there in March. That's just stupid if you aren't there. Someone says, I want to make a cake, but I want to do it without sugar. That's just stupid. I want to do it without flour. That's just stupid. Why am I talking to you? Why are we having conversation? You aren't even getting the main ingredients for success. You are committed for it to be really nasty, a really nasty cake. That takes me to my third C. That means you're involved with the process. You aren't committed to it. The third C is being committed. I'm not involved with jack that I do. I'm committed to everything that I do. Sometimes it happens early, sometimes it happens late. But the one thing that does happen is it happens. Does that make sense? Put yourself on the radar of people that you want to be aligned with and be relentless at bringing value to them in conversation, in relation, in whatever we do. You need to master the art of collaboration. The fourth C, by the way, is communication. Again, I don't have time for the training on this. Down to my last couple of minutes. The art of communication, man. I think I'll speak more on this next week, but I told you most of it. What is more important? Having a goal, having a system to reach that goal. They're interchangeable. It's like asking, what's more important, having an engine or having an exhaust system? You need both of them, right? The goal cannot be reached without a system, and a system without a goal is just not smart. The system is everything. It's doing something that's over and 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 over again. That's how you become a master of something. You fell at it over, not you do it one time this week and one time next week, and you have piano lesson next week and you didn't practice for it. Every day, every minute of every hour, you do it over and over again, creating the greatest amount of value for self that people will buy anything you have to offer. And it should be something that you do all the time. Again, the only reason you aren't telling people about your opportunity is because you don't have the confidence. You don't have the confidence because you don't know your product. You don't have the confidence because if you have a child, you can't stop talking about your child until the sun comes up. If somebody allows you a doorway to talk about your child, because you know your child, you know what you went through, especially a woman that went 9 months labor. You're going to talk about that child. How's your child? Oh, my baby is, you're just going to keep talking, especially just gave birth to it like a dream. And you just got into this like a dream. You need to give birth to your dream here. You need to really embody all that it is that excites you and ignites you about why. Not what it is, but why you're here. That's going to take you to a whole nother, that's just a different frequency. Okay, let me wrap up here. What do we have here? How do we properly structure the team when you're How do you properly structure the team when you're building in order to get to the next promotion on? Oh, this is simple. Go find 6 crazy people and just let them go wild. Marketing plan's real simple. I mean, that's what I did. That's all I'm doing. I mean, you just go through enough people until you find 6 people crazier than you. You don't need to worry about the structure. The 6 people are structuring for you. If you find 6 crazy people that are crazier than you, that have a bigger dream than you, that have a bigger why than you, or equally yoked, depending on how you can't work out of desperation. I can cover this next Friday, but surround yourself with 6 people that are all committed to the same thing. Plus you, that's 7. It's funny, that's the number of completion. That's God's number, that's my number. 7 people that won't stop until you finish the task, all coming to the table with the right spirit and the river of reciprocity, giving to each other unconditionally, and a work ethic that is insatiable, and a dream that's bigger than everybody else and scares yourself. Yeah, easier said than done. But the more you become that person, the easier it is to attract that person. My dream does scare me. There are very few people on this planet that have as big a dream as I do. And you then have to make the distinction between a dream and a wish. A wish is something you're hoping is going to happen. A dream is something you wake up and you work on every single day, starting with self. So, and if you have more you want me to go into that next week, I can. Best way to reintroduce the business to a former IBO is to reinvent yourself and redesign your conversation as to how you go about creating value for yourself. I don't reintroduce ACN, I reintroduce myself. You know what? I shared this with you, or you were in it 6 months ago, you were in it 6 years ago, but we didn't get a chance to work together. You do know working with me is different than anybody you've ever worked with. I mean, I have some people that, there's people that love different styles, different people, different leaders. Again, I believe you can only ride one horse. I have somebody who's right now, we have a position right now where somebody started. I really was late. What are we in? The first week of February? Everybody really activated probably the second week of January. Because of the commitment of communication, even in my lack of being present most of the time, I have one person who in the last 2.5 weeks has already acquired 228 points, where everybody else has less than 5 or 7, or they're happy because they hit ETT. Now, that doesn't make everybody else wrong. That just shows who they are and how they show up, because your commitment shows up in your work. It doesn't show up in your mouth and your desire and your happiness. And a leader is not going to be able to incentivize somebody else to be able to do something they aren't going to do on their own. It could be their life, it could be their problems, it could be their bills, it could be who they are. But I found 2 people that are like, what, I'm about to curse. What do you need? It's done. I'm not worried about where I'm gonna be in 6 months. I'm not worried. It's in the dynamic is crazy, because they're actually committed to somebody else. But they're like, I can be committed to 2 people because we're committed to the same cause. And I know what you're gonna do for me, just being in my life. So what do I need to sacrifice for you to get where you need to be? We have this conversation. And I don't even talk to them. We text every day. It's like, and they just keep showing the ledger. This is what I got. I just knocked this out. I just did this. What else do you need? They live in a space of contribution. They match their words with their actions. Mind you, this person runs 2 companies and is a single parent with 3 kids. And one of them has autism, where others are making excuses. You can make excuses or you can make action. You don't listen to what people say, you watch what they do. The camaraderie is real. There's no less love for everybody else. It's just figure out who has your freaking back. And I've been saying it since last quarter. That's all I need to know. I'm gonna get where I need to go. I'm gonna be completely debt free by June. But I remember those that had my back when I needed it most. But because people operate in a certain vein, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. That's how they keep showing up. And you just allow a rose to be a rose, a dandelion to be a dandelion, a weed to be a weed. Again, we're the only creatures that can create and reinvent ourselves to be something different today. That's a choice. No other animal, no other creature, nothing else that God created can do that. It's a beautiful thing. Well, if you have some more questions, I'll get to it. I am complete for the day.